Yeah, it's not just me. I used to be the star of this show. Now it's
the team. What is happening?
Shooting gears.
Recording in progress.
All right.
Oh,
Hi, everyone.
echo.
Where do I look?
So
Awfully down.
maybe the big one, if there's no lights on, then it's that one.
Okay.
You know, big production here, 4 live cameras, capture all the action. This is dog moon, you know.
Yeah, this is Dogma.
Who let them out?
That's right. We're back.
Wait, is that? So can I announce that I'm in the shame stool because I didn't get my talk out?
We don't have the dunce cap for you.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, that's true.
But it's good to be here. But
Yeah.
so this is a dogman.
Yeah, this is Dogman. So
You're in the
usually
doghouse.
I do the new moon with Matt and then full moon with David. But it's neither new nor full. So we're
Profound.
kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah.
Long Island, neither long nor an island.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But
Yeah.
we're close. We're close. Full moon on Saturday.
True that.
Can I bring up one thing?
Please.
Max is stone cold back there.
It's
The Long
the
Island thing
chair.
is good,
It's the
but
chair.
Max stone cold.
That chair. That's the bad.
Look at
That's our studio audience. No, that's Max on the ones and twos.
Exactly.
Our back end production team.
Yeah, yeah.
We really stepped it up since we first started.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've gotten people involved.
Yeah, we got cameras, we got lights, got mics.
There have been investments. made.
Remember the first 4 episodes, you couldn't even hear us.
Right. People are like, really, like, you seem like you're having a lot of fun. What are you saying? I get every 5th word.
Okay, so I'm going to start brewing us tea. This month's tea, we have 3 flavors this month. We have a Dragon Ball. Gotta catch a ball. Where's camera really? Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball.
Show 'em
There
all.
it is.
Just go to each one.
Yeah, that one, Dragon Ball. And it's a white tea, so that's really good for the immune systems. And then you have this red tea Dragon Ball with rose petals. Oh my God, that's special. And then we have a show cake, 40 gram. Which one should we drink first?
Literally replaced by 3 different teas. But at least it's 3 teas, not just 1 tea. Or the high quality teas.
The only thing that replaced me is celestial season.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, the trunk.
Yeah.
They bring out the trunk.
Wow.
And the
Did you ever take 2? Just the.
2 celestial
Well,
season
they're not
max?
watching how many, you
Celestial
take. They just
seasonings
bring you
inside
the.
That's true. That's true. Well, Dog Moon.
Dog moon.
No. Who are we helping this month?
Shoot, man. I don't know. I mean, so I just want to make a request, like next month, let's just come and have a nap. Because that'd be pretty appropriate for Pig, I think. And it's kind of like the slowdown, the real slowdown is in Pig. So bring your pajamas next month. And we'll just be here napping.
Get ready for power pack content next month.
Just gonna be a live nap. Knock on wood. Well, so a dog, okay, so some details to go through, cosmological details. Dog is the 9th moon, and it is a transitional moon. And so there's 2 things you kind of track when you talk about Tongshu. You talk about the lunar, what are called the lunar ordinances that basically just talk about 1st moon, 2nd moon, 3rd moon. And then, but the real, not the real, but like real denser material are the chinos, which go, there are 24 of those. So they like every 2 weeks, the chi is kind of changing. And there's always a kind of synergy between the lunar ordinances and the chi nodes. They definitely complement one another, or sometimes bring it to like even more dense, the idea. So like recently, we just entered into a chi node that really underscores this kind of transition. And it's really to say that like some people still call this like an autumn moon, and that's kind of half true, but it's more of a transitional moon. Basically, where autumn's coming forward to meet winter, basically gives it the notes and has a meeting, has tea, and then winter takes over. And so this is a point, we're getting to a point where winter is kind of more taking over. And yin is really, you want to say like exerting influence. It becomes much more noticeable, like colder, it's colder. And this is also coincidentally the time in which this kind of harvest or storehouse kind of process is coming to a conclusion. Like the idea about production, the gears of production, they're slipping. You know, you ever ridden a bike where the gears slip and you're just like, it takes even further, even more effort to ride the bike, you know. It's kind of, that's the image that I use for this period of time. Like the gears of production are slipping, and it takes a lot more chi to actually accomplish the things that in summer would happen very easily, right? So there's a sense in which if you are, you know, during this time, if you are more easily exhausted by the things you do, that's the time you were like, yeah, maybe like err on the side of caution, or basically say, you know, not everything you could do, you should do. I don't know, I think I'll just stay home. So it's that kind of willingness to step back. It's reflective of this collection quality. And it's reflective of this idea that like, okay, I just put $1,000 in the bank. I'm not going to go out and spend it right away. You know, like I actually want to like hold on to it a little bit. Matt,
It's the third month.
what if it's
in a
my
row.
credit card?
This is the third month. Oh yeah. Yeah, but what about what about shoes? We're talking.
Oh, yeah.
Now this is the third month in a row. We're not allowed to do anything, are we?
Well, the one thing that's important to remember
Third month in a row.
is that
You've been telling me to stop.
well, have you? Like, no.
I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything.
That's the theme pretty much all year round outside of.
But remember what year we're in, you know, like it's a water rabbit year, you know, so it was always inward facing. Like it was never, there was only like a couple months this year. It was like, go run, you know, and we'll come home and rest. It's like, so it's always been, it's true, you know, like we are kind of working with water rabbit chi, which is always kind of, you know, it might venture out a little bit, but it's not, it's always got its eye on the warren. Right? It's always got its eye on its route home. Like it's not like go on a big adventure. It's what would have happened to, what's his name? Dang it. Not Frodo.
Oh, I have no idea.
What was the original?
The 18.
Bilbo, yeah. What would it?
What?
The 18.
The 18 used to do some cool
Yeah,
stuff.
they
like
did,
Frodo.
they did, yeah. They would have been that, but wizard. Yeah, if like Bilbo had never gone out. That's kind of,
Bilbo the Clown, right?
yeah, Bilbo, Bilbo goes out.
Bilbo does Dallas.
So, but the ninth moon, particularly in a water rabbit year, is really the time to kind of like, I gotta lock it down, like seal it up. As the image is, if you've stored yang qi within, like you're bringing it in, you don't want to bring it back up and out again. You actually do want to conserve that qi, and at the same time, you're also you're providing consistency. You're proving your commitments, because it's not just about like, I don't want to, you know, I might catch a cold. It's it's about the consolidation. It's about like not so much like efficiency, but like going into the tried and true, going into the things you can take for granted. Like if we're gonna make a nest, you want to make a nest with the people that you can take for granted. You don't want to make a nest with people who are like kind of half trusting. I'm not sure.
I have a question. We've been talking a lot in this whole month, the past couple of weeks, about the concept that I call putting. It's not about doing the work; it's about putting the band together. Is that
Yeah, that's apropos. I mean, there's a lot about the, okay, good. There's one thing I can do. I can talk to people.
Yeah.
We're right on track.
Yeah, like networking, bringing trust around and not around money or anything, just around like, I trust you, I wanna do something creative with you.
Trust is key, because we talk about these moons as if they're in a silo, but they're not. They're all connected to the other moons. And if you're working with and building alliances, in every spring, in the first and second moons, you're kind of working with building trust. So you know who you can work with through the year when things are very active, so you can do big things. And then by the time you get to the autumn, you're basically going back, in the autumn moons, like in the monkey and the rooster in particular, you're going back and being like, okay, did that work out? How did that feel? Like, especially in a rabbit year, you're sort of assessing the situation as to whether or not it's somebody that you want to continue to work with, or, like, God, that was a god-awful experience, and like, I'm gonna cut my losses now, or I'm gonna harvest the situation and maybe move on to something else. All of the spectrum of the things you can imagine. And then once you get to the dog, then there is this kind of recommitment to the process. You're not doing anything, because you're going into winter necessarily. Because the idea is that you can do things. I mean, we have temperate climates. We're not sucked in by snow. That, like, there are, aspects of cofactors that we can rely on that allow us to be busier, but it's just that it's not going to be as easy or as nourishing, I would think. There are plants still growing, but the things that they're producing don't carry the level of nourishment as something that comes out of the sun. Right, it becomes denser in its nourishment. What is it? A water dog? It's a water dog, yeah. So I mean, that plays into this kind of I think the word that I was thinking of is like immensity of feeling, like kind of being immersed in feeling. And some of the risks that come with that, because the idea during this time, as winter is approaching, is that the fluids of the body are slowing. Explain it. What does that mean?
That's the process of fluid slowing down. That looks like.
Oh, I see.
I did it wrong. Two. Oh, this is like.
I thought it was like hit me. Maybe. Right? I think it's hit me. One thing.
Hit me maybe one more time.
It's down.
I've even seen like notes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm getting so cultured.
No sweet and low for the team. Sorry.
So.
So as fluids slow down in the body, they crystallize. And the idea in the Chinese medicine aspect of this is from me, is that it serves as a kind of protection, for the colder seasons. And so even the heart slows down. And in conjunction with the idea of bringing the chi down and in. So it's like, so there's the storage. So your excitement is unseasonable.
Really?
Yeah, in the night.
Sucks. So I can't get excited right now?
Meaning like big time excitement, fluttering the heart. Oh, they really want to just keep things stable. They're looking stasis. This is where Earth, seasonal Earth, is the appearance of seasonal Earth as an element buries the fire of sun.
Oh,
It's done.
damn Undertaker.
Yeah, it's boom, like a pile driver. Yeah.
I saw that in the grid line once.
A power driver.
We were in this redneck Florida neighborhood, and we thought it'd be really funny to this guy we played a prank on him. So me and like these four guys, we picked up his Chevy Chevette and we moved it into his yard. Picked it up and moved it into his yard, and he got really mad at us. And he grabbed one of the guys that moved it and just stuck his head between his legs and just dropped it. And I was like, oops.
So you want this moved back out on the street?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Earth is pile driver.
pile driving summer right now.
Well, the fire that was let out by summer is now under a mountain, yes.
That reminds me of when the Monkey King lost to the Buddha. Buddha's put a mountain on top of him. That's a backhand for sure.
Sure,
Lay it down.
the Buddha bomb.
Mhm.
Wow. So violent, astrology.
It was all like middle path.
Yeah, except it's a monkey.
Mountain on
Yeah.
you.
A
What's the name of the
bad-
mountain? Trauma Mountain.
Yeah, so we want to enter, we want to find our power saving mode. That's the idea.
There you go. Talk to us in tech terms.
Right. In terms of the ninth moon, you want to be power saving. That included. Yeah, just easy peasy. Like if you can keep things in a place of stasis, that's the smart move.
Yeah.
Because winter is like literally 2 weeks ago. And then it's more suppressive. So you really want to be, it's both, especially in a society like ours that's like, hey, let's talk in November and work on that deal together. Like, okay, well, we can have tea and have a chat. But like, if you want to like make solid plans in the middle of November, like maybe you wait till February. Maybe like, no, in December, we're going to start filming and we're going to do that. No. It just means that, there's obviously nothing that stops you from doing that. Unless illness comes along, because you've been burning the candle at both ends and you actually reached your limit. But the idea of misconducting yourself in these transitional times you don't feel it until you get to winter, and then you feel it. Like it's important to remember that like the two extreme seasons of the four are always summer and winter, but how you cultivate, spring and fall basically determine.
So our misconduct would be like trying too hard, ambition, trying to make solid things,
Right.
productions, but
Right, to produce, to be
Yeah.
generative. Like the time for generation is done. Yeah, it's more about like recycling, and working with people that and working with people you have a shorthand with, and that you can, in some ways, like kind of take advantage, like take for granted. And that's what double ninth is all about.
Show me on. That was 2 days ago.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of, it's a celebration of longevity. It's basically what that day is for. And there's all kinds of myths attached to it. But you're like, climb a high spot and drink chrysanthemum tea and visit with your elders. It's not necessarily about going to the graveyard, as it is visiting with the ones that are alive.
Yeah.
And what that is that it's a recognition of a continuity. Right, that I understand my longevity, my long life is actually attached to these old folks in front of me, and I come slow down and like be with them and recognize the blood that you share, the blood that actually keeps you alive, and the blood that you nourish through that experience and carries you through another winter. Because the idea is you are trying to bridge the gulf, like there is a gulf to jump over. It's deep and dark, and you're basically trying to keep that yang stored so you can be warm.
Hold on. You storing yang?
Storing yang.
There's a qigong for that.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a qigong for that.
Nice.
And it also kind of follows the theme of, well, we never do.
That's true.
That's part of the thing.
Yeah. We never have a conversation beforehand. Hey, how's this gonna go?
Wing it. And so in the conversation of storing chi, in the conversation of consolidation, in the conversation of power saving mode. Right? Here's the moon. I'm going to start with that. Where's my camera? Okay. So I'm going to draw in, right? Finger by finger. That's that drawing in, right? And that's going to fold through and turn into this big circle that comes right back to me. So I open my book, I curl in, I pierce through it. It's a big circle that comes right back to me. And so in that conversation of conserving the young,
Yeah.
right? These 3 fingers that pull in first is their fire fingers, right? So I pull that into my heart, right? And then that opens up and bring everything back to me. There's a tune for that. Yeah, people doing it, Janaka, Rachel, I see you guys.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, I see, idea that the theme of coming home. Yeah, like in every day, like dog hour is the time you want to be home. Like Ming would always say, if you're home by dog hour, you'll live longer.
Wow, so
It's,
it's when the streetlights come on.
yeah, we have 36 minutes. He doesn't, we do, yeah. Typically between 7 and 9 or daylight savings time, 8 and 10.
Okay. That's not that bad.
No.
That's, yeah.
Yeah,
reasonable.
no, it's totally reasonable. I mean,
It's
it's
happening
completely
anyway.
doable. Yeah. Most people like, and this is also the time where like you should both eat more and sleep longer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sleep longer and have another helper.
All right.
Yeah.
I ate that last taco.
Thanks for your last talk.
Yeah, May told this story, is a really great story about like the nomads that would eat smoked fat, just like that they'd had up in the rafters, like, yeah, and just like knife it off, just sit around and eat smoked fat. Smoked
I
fat.
was just given a heaping helping of some of the fattiest meat yesterday.
Ooh.
And yeah, I ended up eating it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, that's a lot of fat.
And you're like,
And then
Dude, so smoked fat, 40s, blunt.
with the nomads.
Yeah.
Kicking it with the nomads.
Yak milk.
Yeah, exactly. Nice and fatty. So it's not that complicated. It's actually pretty straightforward. The protocols of the ninth moon are what are you compelled to protect and preserve? And that's why it's the being with your elders that gives you a better sense of what it is you're compelled to protect and preserve.
I was working on someone yesterday and they were having some issues and I just said, imagine your body's full of tomatoes and you need to preserve them. Because winter's coming.
What an image.
I was like,
excellent.
it's fall,
So pick
you're
them.
full of tomatoes,
Yeah.
put them in jars, and get through winter.
Make
Yeah.
sauce.
Yeah.
She was like, okay.
Was she Italian, by chance?
Not at all.
Yeah, because you're kind of condensing, chi. You're condensing the things you have. And there's all rituals and stuff in agricultural societies associated with this tradition that have these rituals around what are called closing the storehouse.
Yeah.
Boom, the door is closed. Which means, and there's also an opportunity there for the protocols of fairness to come up because some people have more than others. Right, so then there's an opportunity to explore this kind of generosity and notion of like Ganye, coming back to Ganye, a sense of reciprocity and resonance with one another. So it can be complex, because tribal relationships are not so calm or kind, So like the idea is like, how do we, yes. How do we bridge the gap, between people, either your neighbors or, people another world away. So this is the time where negotiation is actually heightened, especially in a rabbit. If you can, in a rabbit here, in a dog moon, if you can show that, hey, we're the same, you can make real strong lines between people that you carry through the winter, and I'll see you in spring, new friend, like those things are very rich. Or cousins or friends of friends that you get to meet at this time. Don't read too much into it, but those things can be really juicy, marinate them through the winter, and then sort of explore them in the spring. So it's not to say that there can't be a sense of growth, but not in the sense of, not in the way of like generation, production, It's more like this kind of, again, like an immersion sensation feeling. How do you feel around other people? Because this is only going to intensify as you get to the next moon in the pig. It's going to intensify big time.
Yeah, because winter starts next month.
Yeah, I mean, it starts within a few days of the end of this moon, and then you're in winter, and like then it's like, you think it's kind of, oh, you know, it's kind of cold, a little bit dark now, and it's gonna drop like a stone, you know, like to the bottom of the pool as fast as it can, you know. Once we have winter begins and we go into the 10th moon, it's gonna drop like a stone because it's a water pig. So yeah,
Water pig, water rabbit. And that's as deep as we go until.
that's right. That's when we turn, yeah, and then we reach. We'll have that whole moon more or less through that process, and then once you get to the rat, then you have the turning point of the solstice. But until then, you know, the metaphor I always use is like you reach the bottom of the pool and recognize that actually you're at the bottom, and you just keep falling. Like that's big yin. So how you cultivate lesser yin? This is the time of the lesser yin. So I equate lesser yin with a kind of realism. It's what you see is what you get.
That reminds me of the old crazy wisdom. Was it Chong Young Trungpa? He's like, oh, bad news, you're falling. Good news, no bottom.
No bottom. No bottom. Yeah. So that's the idea, is that right now in lesser yin, cultivating lesser yin, it reflects a kind of realism. I say what you see is what you get. And as you keep cultivating this and don't disrespect it, well, but what if I, you know, and engage in fantasy, then you actually can navigate this sort of greater yin. And greater yin as asking like big questions like, what am I? Like, I don't know. Am I really this person that I thought I was? You know, people
It sounds
think,
like a five also.
This is the same tea.
Same feeling.
very good.
It's changing.
Yeah, you know, that's the good.
So, you know, not to forecast too quickly into the pig moon, but that is really the idea behind autumn period, and then also particularly in the dog being this place of transition. And the transition, that's why it's good for oath taking. Oath taking is like a recommitment to the process we just went through, or a recommitment to a family structure, or a recommitment to those things we can take for granted, because now I know what I'm going to be taking, what jacket I'm going to be wearing, or who I am going who I am going into the winter, like when everything's going to be up transparent and up in the air. Like I can rely on this, I can rely on these people, I can rely on this family. So high energy, high emotion time, as we've been seeing in the world, like hearts bursting, you know, because of shock, trauma, bursting. And that's why it's always been said that war in the 9th moon is barbaric, because it's a level of excitement that by the time, just by the moon, we can't process. We're not able, like can't hold this, you know? And that's what we're witnessing all over, right? So this kind of like deep trauma, you know, basically a whole area of the world just got tripled in ghost population overnight. You know, a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. So it's that's what I mean by like no excitement, please. No excitement. Like, let's keep everything kind of cool and easy. Because water pig chief is pretty easily worked up. Or sorry, water dog, as we know our water dogs. Mm-hmm. Right? Pretty easily.
Again, I have another few that are dogs.
Very excited. Very excited. There you go. Emotionally like tapped in and very available, like super available. And so when you partner that with a water rabbit, then it's worldwide. It's not just what's happening on the block. So that's the thing that concerns me about the things that happen in this time and how they translate to what's available next year. When you get to the dragon, when everything, the scale just explodes.
Is rat the last moon this year?
We'll have pig and then rat and then ox. And then
New Year starts with tiger.
and the tiger and the fire tiger.
Wood dragon, fire tiger.
True story. Like it's it's gonna pop off big, big. You know, so it's always, you know, anytime we're talking about things that are happening in a rabbit year, you always have to remember that, like, you're forecasting in the dragon. So bundle up, take care of one another, of each other, you know, like, take it easy.
Great names.
Please take it easy.
So how about this segue? Good luck, bad luck, who knows? Who's got it good, but it's really not good? Who's got it bad, but it's really not bad?
I think the first people that you have to look, I mean, everybody can have it good. I mean, I'm a pig, I'm a double pig, so I'm like, everything's fine.
You get a car, you get a car.
Just sleep for a while.
Sleeping.
Yeah, just sleep in. It's my answer for everything. 9, 10 hours a day, you'd be good. Nothing bothers you.
Wow, what a thought.
So good. That's
right.
my superpower, sleeping. As far as like stereotypically, summer is a time of differentiation. My project, us doing things like very clear path oriented. You know, I know where I'm going. I start here, go there. Like when you get into the yin, it's a lack of differentiation. Things kind of bleed together. So that we call this social. You know, the influences we have with one another become much more prominent. But there are key characters that really actually embody differentiation, like a dragon, you know, that have this kind of capacity to hold their own space. And so any of those kind of characters that are able to experience differentiation, it's just more strenuous, but they can do it. You know, that like nothing really stops them from doing it. But this is around the time of year where they say both dragons and rainbows disappear.
Yeah, they do.
In the calendar. So like, you know, say goodbye to Matt.
Where's my sanity?
I mean, he'll be around for us, you know, but it's just like there's a hibernation quality that
I
comes
didn't
with
do a
dragon.
moon talk this year with them.
You knew what was coming.
That's true. Yeah. Now you just gotta get rid of the rainbows. You got rid of the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So horses, ox can follow the conventionality. Let's just run it down. Rats and oxen can follow the conventionality of the season. I don't see them as having a problem. Scaling back might be a problem more for oxes.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to have to adjust in how they retreat, because retreat is actually what's available. But we all work in a machine calendar. We all work machine culture. So you're still going to have to find ways to retreat. So like sick days or just how much energy you put out, like scale it back, find ways to conserve. I think, you know, rats are very good at this. So as we said a couple months ago, follow the rat, you know, because the rat knows where we're going, you know, which is like this kind of scaled back place, and like let's pay attention to our efficiency place. So like rats are probably guiding people around this time, like you're working very hard, you should take a nap, you know, or like are you sure you're gonna be able to get it done by that time? I think you should give yourself another week or whatever, you know, like, so they're going to have this kind of efficiency mindset. And as I mentioned, the oxen, you know, they can follow the conventionality of things, but overextension is always a big problem for oxen. And this would be the time where they're going to be feeling it and sleeping more than they should. Tigers, it depends on how they've regulated themselves overall throughout the year. But it's very easy for them to be in a place of overwhelm. Because there is this kind of appetite for differentiation and still continuing. They're adjusting. They too will probably have this kind of hibernation aspect available to them. Rabbits, this is kind of their happy time of year. I'm just gonna say it like that. Like it's social, like interconnected, but it really kind of depends on their social network. Whether they're one of the ideas about rabbits for in this water rabbit year is their sense of connectivity. How connected are they? And so if there is a kind of retreat that's happening for them, both are good. Either being immersed with others or being in a place of retreat, I don't think is a problem either way. Yeah. Dragons we talked about. Snakes, also the same kind of big mind as dragons. So they could also have the capacity to sort of scale it back. They want to disappear. And next moon for snakes, they should. So they can get a head start on those. Horses, same as the kind of tiger. Goats, this is very much a connectivity time. So this is a very good time for them to be involved in working with like negotiation or any kind of like social bonding. Give me something good. Give me something good.
Well, we probably catch fire. That's a monkey, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get a mountain dropped on you.
Yeah.
So chill.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It is always possible. Remember we were talking about in the beginning of the year with monkeys and their capacities for influence is very strong, but in this kind of unique circle, right? And there can be like almost kind of people be like very open and receptive to your style, like yeah, exactly. And that's also kind of a vulnerable place. And given that it's rabbits, and rabbits can be like, I like the way you looked at me one day, and then the next day be like, I don't know if I like the way you looked at me. Like, what do you mean by that? You know, and so the monkey has that kind of navigation, constant navigation to go about. So this would be one of the moons where you might find the need to consolidate your influence. For all monkeys to consolidate their influences. Be like, yeah, you know, great people, you know, love talking to them. Maybe I'll see them, you know, towards the end of the year again, kind of space out the times you get to see them a little further and further, you know, not every week, maybe every third week. Things like that. Be creative.
Start putting stuff off till New Year's.
I would highly recommend that for any character that's generative. I mean, I think a lot of your domestics are already kind of set in their places where they can of tried and true things that they can kind of take for granted. Domestics are very good at that. Like your pigs, rabbits, and goats kind of already have the circles. They're already doing it. Dogs as well. They're already doing it. They haven't like, oh well, I just started doing that. You know, like. They already made their distinctions a while ago, and that's where they're at. They're not really expanding their social circles so much. And so, but for everybody else, it's kind of generative and going outside in more expansive kinds of ways. Yeah, no, this is the time to delay. This is the time to actually don't have, you know, fear of FOMO. Forget FOMO. Forget it. Like it doesn't exist. Like really, it's dumb. It's a dumb idea right now. All it's going to do is just draw you out of where you need to be. And slowing down is how you know where you need to be. Like listening deeply. What do you need to preserve and protect? Anything that requires FOMO is not either of those two things. Like, because there's nothing you're actually, if you have something to preserve and protect, you can't possibly miss out. That's the idea. This is Dao De, right? That means that Dao is got our back, you know, because we're in the kind of virtuous alignment. Our nature and the nature of God is the same.
That's pretty gangster. Dao got my back.
So, you know, if someone goes, you know, during this time, they were supposed to go. It would have been harder to hold on. And it would have been draining to hold on. You shouldn't hold on. You know, like, so if they actually left you, yeah, maybe heartbreaking, but like definitely for the best if it's happening right now.
So we left off at monkey. We have
Rooster. Yeah, no. Got nothing. I mean, I'm sure roosters have many projects that they're impatient by this point, you know, so, just, you know, buckle up, buttercup, like everybody else, you know, you're gonna be kind of in the deep end of the pool. So simplification. Last moon wasn't so bad. Right, so the edits that you did, the simplifications that you performed, like, just stay there. If you're bored, it's good. It's good. If you're bored, if a rooster is bored right now, congratulations.
Wow, I used to talk shit about bored people. Boring people get bored.
Yeah, that's a monkey response. How could you possibly be bored? And I guess what I mean by bored is that they lack some kind of stimulation, right? It's a recognition that, like, I don't have anything going on right now. And that would be a point of victory right now for a rooster. Okay. I mean, that they allowed themselves enough spaciousness where they could recognize themselves. Dog and pig. These are good times.
Yeah, you mentioned the
Easy.
domestic animals.
Yeah, easy, very easy for pigs right now. Unless there's conflict in the home. If there's conflict in the home, then it's not easy on pigs. This would be a tough move if there's conflict in the home. Or any kind of insecurity, uncertainty of you know, material, financial survival, or things like that. If there's those kinds of things for any of the domestics, it's a tough time right now trying to figure that out, because it should have been figured out. So now it comes like more of a surprise. And if they're being surprised, if pigs are being surprised right now, it's a little bit of a navigation for them. They can get through it.
That surprise pig.
Who's that?
Well, we have another pig in our lives.
Yeah, right.
What would Ming be doing right now?
Right. Not talking to any of us.
Oh,
I don't know. You know, there are, you know, you would be having most likely, and this is true of any school, there would be invitation only events. Guaranteed that Ming would have invitation only events right now. Of core students, people who've made commitments, you know, and this would be the time to actually do those rituals, do those ceremonies, to like sanctify the commitment ritualistically, so that you could go into winter with that.
wow! It's almost like a seasonal rite of passage.
Yeah,
For the select few.
I mean, it's very rich. This notion of initiation, it's just as valid to do initiation at this time as it would be in like spring. Because especially if you've been a long time student, maybe kind of recommitment ceremonies right, at this time, or if you're in a meditation practice and you're like, okay, I'm ready to now take this technique, this meditation technique into the winter. Like, okay, so here's the transmission, and then okay, go on retreat, or you know, go in like social retreat, you know, where you have like a prescribed period of time where you're doing this particular meditation and working this particular mantra, things of that nature. Very cool.
That's really in line with my last trip to Hawaii, because my grandmaster gave me this set of deer horn knives. It's almost like a level up in a new practice.
This from just last trip week.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool. And they're razor sharp too. Yeah, every edge.
Oh.
And there's the hair too. Where's the camera? There it is. Pink. I want to hand these over.
Oh no. I know, I respect
I
that.
don't like anything
transmission.
with a point pointing at me.
Yeah, and really,
When you
really
hold it, huh?
Yeah.
and yeah, you're not supposed to stab, you're supposed to stab with the trajectory of the arc. See,
Have you worked with those?
I've never been into weapons,
I'm very into weapons. That's why I don't like anything with a point.
I've taken my lead from this guy, having being in a knife fight and having.
Yeah, yeah. But no, those are cool. Actually, I do kind of see it now.
yeah,
Feel how heavy it is.
That's impressive.
they're relics, they're handmade, and so it's a lineage relic.
So this would be considered like a talisman.
Ish, and the two of them together create the phases of the moon.
Phases of the moon meaning the moon's in a knife fight?
No. Once you get that packed up, I'll show you.
Yeah, I just remember learning a lot of these things and I've stabbed myself like so many times, like doing weird things and you catch yourself.
Yeah.
Between this and when you're a kid and you learn nunchucks and you hit something, you realize the only thing that hits harder than the thing you hit is you. The nunchuck just bounces back and I just realized keeping it simple, stick with the classics.
Yeah.
A knife or running.
Well, something that I learned about this is that you don't do that,
Yeah.
right? Because you will cut
Yeah.
yourself. And so there's a Tai Chi principle of I never break this shape. And if I never break that shape, even if I go here, it's always going to be a safe distance away. And I only turn at the wrist.
Yeah.
And then so from there, my movement is guided by the waist as opposed to my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then in that regard, it always stays a safe distance.
So that's where that's why weapons are so good, because they teach body mechanics.
Yeah.
Like staffs and rope darts and all stuff. They're not the best weapons, but they really teach you where your body is.
So when I first did martial arts, I was all about the weapons. But when I went to Wudang to be a monk, I only want to learn my heart and mind. So I turned away from all weapons at that point. But then in the conversation of you're ready to take on something I went to later,
Right.
Grandpa gave this to me.
So in our school, like we would always talk about how useless weapons were now, we were training combatives. But then we'd say we were learning body mechanics. That's what it makes sense.
So
Yeah, so that would so your teacher is doing what you need to do.
I love it when things like are affirmed. Every month you just affirm things for Anything else to share before we open up to questions? No. Okay. Anybody got questions? Mary, Connie, Laura, Irene. Question time. You can even unmute yourself. Oh, here comes Janaka.
Hello. No question.
Go ahead. What's the question, brother?
No, just saying hi.
Oh,
Hey.
Hi.
What you doing?
Drinking tea.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I know there's a stereotypical question generally about the hexagrams. 8 and 32.
That's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, 8 alliance and 32 constancy.
32 is what?
Constancy, it's meant to be this kind of sense of continuity, participation.
we have a deep question here from Miss Mary Parks, who wants to know, how do you define love?
I'll take my answer off the air.
Wow.
That's a big ass question.
Yeah. You see, what I need that right now is one of those like Mac like turning rainbows.
Oh yeah.
Process.
Just beach ball Scott.
I'm out.
I haven't answered that. Yes.
Yes, yeah, there is life.
Yes.
I think. I don't, I mean, I would need more specifics, but specifically, I don't define. Personally, I don't define life, because I think that at root, in the cosmology of the Tongshu, as related to both the Confucian and the Taoist traditions specifically, is very animist in its orientation. So, like, to define life is to more or less exclude something. If you think about a stone having life, basically it's just a speed, vibration. And there's all kinds of great stories about how if I align my chi with the boulder, then I can move it, right? So it's that participation with Ganying and reciprocity that is most important when it's the fundamental principle when it comes to engaging life, our life or the animist life of the world around us. And that, so that's why, like, I recently written that the only purpose of life is to maintain. Not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. There is no arrow. Like, there's no end point. If there's no end point to life, then the only purpose to life is to maintain.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. Ayahuasca shaman said that once. Oh, life, live it.
Right. Yeah. If you have it, good.
Also kind of Taoist too, like as soon as you define it as this, it's not that.
And that's the point. Yeah.
That's the kind of what isness is. It is. Is.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it is a Taoist sort of, you don't know, you can't know. You're in it. It would require, knowledge requires like a kind of sense of outside perspective. When you're so immersed in it. It's like trying to describe wet to a fish. So I don't know if that's a question.
You select anything.
They said you answered it.
Nice. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I love it. Very nice.
That's a question.
Who had a question? It was hers.
Oh, is it only biological or something? Oh, okay.
Animist.
Animist.
That's my box.
Pantheistic.
What is animism? Ding.
All right. Well, we've come on an hour. No one has any questions.
That is
How about
delicious.
gratitudes? This is the time for gratitude. People say thank you.
Yes. No, exactly. I did not mention it, but that's very true. Particularly tomorrow. If you read my writing, you would know. Be grateful tomorrow. It's big. You're closing a storehouse. It's so hard for us to do this, because we're so geared by our language to keep chasing the next thing. We don't, what do they say? Like, most Americans don't have $400 for an emergency, So how are we geared to store? We don't store. We consume and spend. So I think it's not so easy for us to grasp it, but there are ways. Your relationships, your friends. Who do you love? Like, again, who you make a nest with, people you can take advantage of, or like take for granted. Take advantage. I keep saying that, but it's like take for granted. There are people in your life you can take for granted.
So, what if you're the person being taken for granted?
This is a hard time. Yeah, I mean, taken advantage of. Taken for granted, it gets a bad rap. Like, there's all this, like, I think it's because we're so individualized. So if you're giving 40% to your relationship and the other person's giving 60%, somehow that other person's a jerk, but like, not always. I think it's a little more nuanced than that. That you really, if you have people who, we should really examine the basis of our discontent. Let's just put it that way. And like, where is that coming from? And how it's not just what you're feeling. it's a reflection of the things that you're embodying or reflecting around you too. So it's much more nuanced, especially going into these moons. Like I said, that sense of differentiation, where, your feelings and my feelings are separate. Yeah, maybe not so much, and that sounds a little woo-woo, and sorry, that's kind of where we're going. So, but if you're convinced, I know who I am, and I know who that person is, then this is gonna be a tough time.
Well, a lot of work I've been doing over the month being here. One of the most common, you can trace the through line to a lot of people's pain. And it's that, and I always say I train people for when you go to bed and when you wake up, right? Those are the two most important moments. And there's so much of that thinking, I didn't get anything done today. And then you wake up the next morning, God, I got so much to do today.
Right.
It's like that mentality
Right.
is making people
Crazy. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I've experienced that myself. We just had to be like, whoa.
Not doing anything is a skill. Like, man,
Yeah.
treat it like you did something. Because it's harder to not do something than it is to build a to-do list.
And to spin in circles.
Busy work
about-
is easy, man.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah.
And also recognize that, hey, I didn't get an hour and a half practicing, but I got 45 minutes. Yeah, that's great. Especially this time of year, be grateful for 45 minutes. No one probably here is training to be an Olympic athlete. So back off, eat that extra helping and get a good night's rest and be happy with the way you are. There's no more chi to make a change. You're stuck. So, get used to it. And if you are going to make a change, if a change happens to you, then you need your support network to help you get through it. It's not to say that changes don't happen, but right now it would be tough. If everything you lost this or lost that and everything got turned on its ear, it would be hard on your heart at a time when it's slowing down. So you need to call those people that you can take for granted. And meaning take for granted that I can rely on you, and there's an interreliance there that we really love each other.
That's who Matt is from today.
Me too.
Sounds like I pointed y'all.
It's good to have friends, and this is the time you need friends and allies, people that you go to war with,
Well, that was
solidarity.
coming back here, seeing the realization that everywhere I went, the one thing that people were asking for was community. And then coming back here, and even though I wasn't into being in California, I have one of the coolest communities ever. So just been going around just seeing them.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Good segue.
And I'm very happy it's I'm so glad you came.
Oh,
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's always
just
been
around the block.
a great pleasure to come here and talk with everyone.
Yeah, let's get this out because next month we're just napping.
We are napping.
Can I say
Come in your pajamas.
the amount of
Come in your pajamas. I'm coming in my pajamas.
networking that has happened by not doing anything this month has been crazy. I've just been sitting around, and then when I'll go on these road trips, and I'm just on these road trips, just phone calls with people just being like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then as long as we have to talk about, we're just getting up,
Yeah.
just networking, just doing our thing.
Think of foreshadowing to the spring. Yeah, that's a good way. If people are trying to build and network and do things like that, foreshadow to the spring. Yeah, and tell people to nap. Yay.
All right, family.